Hey guys, and a very warm welcome back to What's for Tea, and I hope that I find you all very well indeed. Well, this is my 7th instalment for my wee sort of festive Christmas food and drink ideas, and tonight I'm making some lovely festive mincemeat pies. Now these are absolutely beautiful. You know, you really do need a sweet tooth for these, but it's one of these things that you eat at this time of year. I think probably 90% of the country has these at this time of year. They just stir up so many memories of Christmas for me, and I absolutely love them. Now the recipe I'm going to be showing you tonight, guys, is ultra simple. I've got a couple of different recipes for this, but I'm going to be showing you the simplest way. You don't need any sort of equipment, you don't need a food processor, you don't need to use any eggs or liquid in your pastry. I've kept it super simple, and the result is a beautiful it's fall apart, melt in the mouth pastry, which you're going to absolutely love. So if you want to follow along with this super simple recipe, guys, this is what you're going to need. First of all, I'm using 100 grams of golden caster sugar, but you can use, plain caster sugar if you like. I just prefer the flavour of golden caster sugar. You'll also need one beaten egg, that's just, to glaze at the end. You'll need 350 grams of plain or all-purpose flour. You'll need You'll need 1 tablespoon of icing sugar, and again, this is just for decoration. You'll need 250 grams of very cold unsalted butter. Just cut that into cubes and pop it into your freezer for 10 minutes. You really do want to chill that. And you'll also need 200 grams of sweet mincemeat. I'm just using shop bought stuff, but you can of course make your own mincemeat if you like. It's super easy, but it does take a wee bit of time to make, so that's why I've just bought some just to show you how to quickly make the mince pies. So you'll need about 200 grams of that, which is about 9 teaspoons. So let's move on and I'll show you what we do next. I just wanted to quickly show you the butter that I'm using. I thought the packaging was so cute. So that's the butter there. Like I said, guys, it's 250 grams of unsalted butter, and you want to chill this well because it's going to give you a lovely fall apart pastry. And this is the mincemeat that I'm using as well. You'll only need about 8 or 9 teaspoons of this, which is going to be about half this jar, which is about 200 and a bit grams. Like I say, you're free to make your own if you like. It is really, really easy, but it does take, a few days to infuse properly, because obviously you're using some brandy and port, so you want to make sure that gets well into your fruit. So you'll be making that over the space of a couple of days. But I've just picked some up out the supermarket just to show you how to put them together. The first thing you want to do is start with your dough or your pastry. So pop your flour into the bowl, followed by your cold butter. Like I said, guys, you want this butter as cold as you can get it. And then with your fingertips, you're just going to keep, working this together until it forms fine breadcrumbs. It'll take about 5 minutes. You can, of course, do this with a food processor if you prefer, and it'll take about 20 seconds. But I much prefer doing it this way because you'll end up with a really, really nice pastry. And it'll end up looking like this. Lovely and flaky. So you should have no big lumps of butter in there now, guys. It should all be worked into your flour. Give it a wee wipe up. Try not to throw flour everywhere, like I've done. So once you're at that stage, guys, you can go ahead and pop in your caster sugar. So I'm using 100 grams of golden caster sugar. Like I say, it's just because I prefer the flavour of golden caster sugar, but you can just use plain old caster sugar if you prefer. Just mix it through well with your fingers again. Now you're going to have to bring this dough together in your hand. Don't worry, because you're going to think, oh my goodness, this is so dry, it's never going to form a dough, but it does. Just stick with it give it a wee bit of, just keep going at it. Knead it all together for a good few minutes. This may take about 5 minutes as well. But just keep smooshing it together and smooshing it together, and eventually it'll form a dough. It will form a dough that you can handle, but it's still going to be very brittle. This is, after all, it's a short crust, and it's going to be very, very short and brittle. And this is what you'll end up with. And don't be tempted to add any liquid, guys, because you're going to end up with a very tough dough if you use any liquid. As you can see there, it is very, very dry, but that's what you're looking for. So don't worry if you think it's looking dry, because it all works out in the end. So I'm using a non-stick bun tray. The reason I'm using a bun tray is because the wee compartments are quite shallow, and that's what I like. So grab a piece of your dough, about a walnut size amount, and roll it into a ball in the palm of your hand. The heat of your hand is going to make this quite workable. So like I say, guys, don't worry if you think your mixture is looking super dry, because it does work out in the end. Trust me. I've done this before. So once you've got the ball, to the size that you want, I've got a wee bit too much here, so I'm just going to take a bit off. You just press it into your wee compartments. I just like to try and make sure that I've got it even all the way around. Even thickness on the sides and even thickness on the bottom. Just so that when I take my pies out at the end, the sides don't break up. So you want a wee bit of, you want them quite thick on the sides and the bottom. And make sure you're leaving enough room in there to get your mincemeat in. You're only going to be using a teaspoon of mincemeat, so you don't need it, super deep. If you like, if you do like deep filled pies, you could use a muffin tray if you prefer. I just like using shallow pans. So that's my first 6 done. This mixture will make about, I've made 8 or 9 I believe, but you could actually fill the tray if you wanted. But there's only going to be me and the other half here for the next couple of days, so I didn't make a whole batch. You just want to go around all your compartments with your fingers and just make sure, you've got a wee bit of depth in your pastry. And with the rest of your pastry, you just want to go ahead and make your tops. I'm going to be using a wee star cutter, but you can cut them into circles if you prefer. Just pop it out your bowl and keep working it with your hands, because it hasn't been touched, for a wee while, it's going to be quite dry. So you just want to work that again into a ball. And the heat off your hands will make it rollable, because I'm going to be rolling this one out. But you don't have to roll it out. Like I say, guys, you can just do what you've done for your bottoms and just grab a wee ball and smoosh it out, into a sort of round shape and pop that on top if you like. Just because I'm trying to keep it Christmassy, I'm doing wee stars. We're actually expecting snow in the next couple of days, and I really hope so. I love snow. It's meant to be quite heavy snow as well, so I'm super excited. So that's the stars done. So I've just popped mine onto some greaseproof paper at the side, just while I clean up. And you want to grab your cases again and spoon in 1 teaspoon of your mincemeat per pie. Now you don't want to overfill these, guys, because when they cook in the oven, your mixture is going to bubble up, and if you put too much mincemeat in, it's just going to bubble up and over the top. And you really don't need a lot of this because it's quite strong. So once you're happy, you can pop your lids on. And if you're deciding to use star shapes or whatever shapes, if you're deciding to use sort of novelty shapes, just make sure that the edges of your shape are pressed in to the top of your lid, just to help them stick down a wee bit. Just like I'm doing there. I really hope you give these a go. They are really easy to make. You might think, oh, that looks quite difficult, but it really isn't. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, I'm not a baker at all by any stretch of the imagination, and these were, I found these really easy. And once you've done that, well, the next step, you're actually going to glaze the top with some beaten egg, but you don't have to do that. The only reason I glaze the top with the beaten egg is because I like a nice golden brown colour on the top. But if you like them, quite pale, or you don't want to use the egg, you really don't have to. So that's completely optional. So just lightly go over the top of each one and just give them a wee glaze with the beaten egg. And pop them into your oven, gas mark 5, 200C or 180 if you've got a fan, for 20 to 25 minutes in the middle of your oven. Then once they're ready, allow them to cool in the tin for about 10-15 minutes, before you attempt to take them out, because of the nature of this, this kind of pastry. They're like, they could fall apart because they're so crumbly. But if you leave them to cool in the tin, even for 10 minutes, they're going to be fine to take out. And this was them finished. You can see them bubbling away there still. And they smell amazing. So obviously there's tons of spices and cinnamon and all sorts of goodness in there. So let them cool, guys. Not completely, you don't have to let them go cold. Just about 10 minutes. And I've lost 2. Can you believe it? Every time I bake cookies or that kind of thing, I always seem to lose 2 or 3. And as you can see, they're absolutely perfect. Just the right depth. The lids and the bottoms have joined up nicely. They're lovely and golden brown. And they're still super duper warm. So that's it. So if you're choosing to use icing sugar, I would let them cool completely before you put the icing sugar on. Because if they're warm, the icing sugar is just going to disappear and you won't see it anymore. We just had a couple of these with some warm custard over the top and they were delicious. New Year's resolution, must lose weight. That's all you'll see in January and February, all these weight loss recipes, I bet you. Ah dear. Don't they look fab though? I mean, they really do. So festive. And I'll just let you see what one is like inside. They're so soft, beautiful. And as you can see, that's only 1 teaspoon of mincemeat, guys, and that's more than enough. So that was my wee super duper easy mince pie recipe, and I really do hope you enjoyed that. Tomorrow I've got the cock-a-leekie soup coming, because that's what most of you guys voted on. And like I said in my last video, I usually do offer a soup on Christmas Day, so I'll probably end up making the cock-a-leekie because it is a favourite and it goes down well every time. So make sure to pop back for that if you want to see that being made, or you fancy making it yourself. Again, it's super duper simple. It uses 5 ingredients and it's absolutely beautiful. And also tomorrow night I'll be popping up meals of the week, so hopefully I'll see you back for them. So until then, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. Bye for now. Bye now.